We'd like to welcome everybody to this webinar. The Ontario Public Works Association Right-of-Way Management Committee is pleased to announce that going forward, it will be linking arms with the American Society of Civil Engineers, Utility Engineers, and Survey Institute, known as UESI, Ontario chapter, to co-host the annual Right-of-Way Management Conference. For those of you who may not be familiar with UESI, we have invited Blaine Hunt to briefly speak on who they are and why they have linked arms to co-host the 2020 Right-of-Way Management Conference webinar series and future conference. Blaine, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Tracy. The Utility Engineering and Survey Institute is a branch of the American Society of Civil Engineers. It's known as UESI. Aside from being responsible for the engineering standard, which is the ASC 3802, UESI's vision is to be a worldwide leader in generating products, services, promoting excellence for utility infrastructure, engineering, and survey. The Ontario chapter of UESI was founded in December of 2018, and UESI Ontario was the first Canadian chapter within UESI. Since then, we've been joined by the UESI Alberta, BC, and hope to add more Canadian chapters and involvement. UESI is proud to become a co-sponsor for the 2020 Right-of-Way Management Conference and beyond. We felt this was a great opportunity for us to join with the OPWA Right-of-Way Management Committee. We had similar goals and objectives. We thought we could increase exposure from our members in Ontario and across our chapters in Canada and the US. And we want to strengthen an already established successful conference. Thank you to the OPWA Right-of-Way Management Committee and to everyone who enjoy your webinar today. Thanks, Tracy.
The OPWA Right-of-Way Management Committee and UESI Ontario chapter jointly would like to announce that starting in 2020 and going forward, October will be Right-of-Way Management Month. The intent of Right-of-Way Management Month is to promote and to bring greater awareness through education to the many challenging issues associated with the management of the public right-of-way. For October 2020, the Ontario Public Works Right-of-Way Management Committee and UESI Ontario chapters have offered free educational webinars on right-of-way management and associated topics. Will be covered every Tuesday and Thursday. Based on the success of the Ontario webinar series, we would like to announce that an additional free webinar will be scheduled for November 26th. This past July of 2020, the Ontario government passed the Building Transit Faster Act to streamline the delivery of provincial transit projects. In support of the legislation, Metrolinx, together with Infrastructure Ontario, the Ministry of Ontario, and highly impacted utility companies, set up the Utility Coordination Program, which oversees the development of new utility relocation guidelines and supporting processes to improve the location, treatment, and relocation of utility infrastructures. This session will introduce the program, its progress to date, and the exciting milestones yet to come. Registration for the webinar is now open at rightofwaymanagement.ca. Prior to starting today's webinar, I'd like to go over a couple housekeeping items. One, all delegates will be muted throughout the webinar to eliminate background noise. Number two, a question and answer will occur at the end of the presentation if time permits. Use the question and answer tab on your screen to forward any questions for the presenter. The webinar is eligible for OACETT CPD program as a partial 1 hour fulfillment of the full day informal course and self-directed study. A proof of registration and a short summary of what you have learned needs to be submitted to the OSET for the webinar to qualify towards your CPD. Today's webinar is Winter Operations within the Right-of-Way. Today's presenter is Alice Lamb. Alice is a graduate from the University of Toronto Civil Engineering Program in 2001. She began her career with WSP Transportation Group, specializing in traffic engineering and planning. In 2003, Alice joined the Ministry of Transportation Engineering Development Program and rotated through different transportation discipline areas such as structural, traffic, intelligent transportation systems, highway engineering, and urban design. Through her 11 years with the ministry, she led different environmental assessments and detailed design projects addressing various transportation needs. In 2014, Alice joined the City of Markham and is currently the senior manager responsible for road operations, right-of-way management, survey, and utilities for the entire Markham road network. Please welcome Alice for today's session. Alice, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay, so can you guys see the presentation? Tracy?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for having me as part of the OPWA webinar, and also taking your precious time away from your lunch to listen to us about our winter condition within the railway. And my name is Alice Lam. I'm the Senior Manager of Road, Survey, and Utility with the Operation City of Markham. So what is winter operation? What is winter? Is it just the white and fluffy snow coming down from the sky down onto the road? You know what? I joined operation a couple of years ago, and at that time, you know what? Winter operation seems like just plowing snow. However, after you've been in the industry and understanding the logistic and all the challenge, it's actually much more than just snow. It's actually ice, freezing rain, different road condition, different classification of the road, and there's also a lot of logistic in lining everything up. So today's agenda, I'm going to talk about in general, what is winter operation, what is winter maintenance, what is the service level and the legislation expectation, and what kind of aspect and other factor that could be impacting the service delivery for municipality. And our resident concern, and I'll show you some statistic and some data. And then it tied back to winter shutdown related to OPWA within the railway. That why is municipality or the province setting up winter shutdown for an impacting construction period? So oftentimes people said that in Canada or in North America, in certain city, there's only 2 seasons. One is construction season, one is winter. So there's a logistic and there's a reason behind, and today I would like to touch on that. So what is winter maintenance? So before I go into in-depth, and I want to show you a YouTube video.
I am a skilled laborer with a DZ license for the city. In the wintertime, we do winter maintenance. One of the good things about doing this job is plowing the roads and keeping the community safe. If there's snow on the roads or if there's snow coming, we would get the trucks all ready. We would put the plows on, do all the pre-trip inspections, load the trucks with salt. Usually a full plow starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. The city's divided into different zones. Our main concern is to do all the major arteries and bus routes first. And then that gives us time to do the subdivisions. You try to be sympathetic with people, and people are shoveling their driveway and they see the plow truck coming down and they're waving their fists at you and throwing shovels. It's unfortunate, but you got to put the snow somewhere. People do park on the side of the road. It's inevitable. It may be a plow truck that's trying to come down your street. What if it's a fire truck? We can't get past. We got to back all the way down. If they weren't parked one across from the other, at least we could get by and get around. If you have to start work at 7 in the morning and you know that the roads are going to be snow covered or bad, leave 15 minutes early. Have good snow tires on your vehicle. Everybody wants to go home at the end of the day. We don't drive these vehicles that fast. You have snow coming off the wing. Just stay back a little bit. Try not to pass us. More for your safety. Be patient with us so that we can do our jobs safely. I love this job. It's rewarding and it feels good that I'm part of a community. Our goal as snowplow operators is to make it safe for you and your family to get from point A to point B, just as I want my family to get from point A to point B. I know at the end of the day, at 11 o'clock at night, guess what? I'm shoveling like you. I'm shoveling like everyone else. We live in Canada. It's a great country. So.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you a perspective about our job in maintaining, providing winter maintenance through work operations. So if you guys want to find the YouTube video again, it's actually, you can Google it on YouTube. It's from City of Kitchener and Waterloo that they produced the video. And so I find that is actually a good segue and opening the forum. So as the video said, that winter operation we're trying, our mandate is to provide safe road for everyone. And we want to make sure everyone go home or go to their destination safely. So how do we do that? First part of the puzzle is weather monitoring. So weather monitoring is not just looking at what is on the day off. So we kind of like, it's a science. We look at what happened in the past, what is going to happen today, and what is going to happen in the short term within a week and also in 2 weeks coming on. Because depending on the weather, it could trigger a different type of operation. Let's say if the weather is freezing rain is coming, so it may trigger municipality to dispatch for direct liquid application, which is laying down the salt brine to prevent ice formation. And after being here in road operation for the last 3 years, one thing the challenging is not every single storm is the same. So every single storm, there could be something different. It could be a very heavy snow. It could be just flurry, or it could be snow turning into ice. And in between, there could be freezing rain. And in between, there could be a strong wind blowing. So there's a lot of different situations. So our team is monitoring weather 24/7. And in addition to that, there's road patrol, which is another piece that's the road monitoring. So we have to know about the road temperature. The air temperature compared to the road temperature is different. So the air temperature could create ice and snow coming down. But let's say in this season, the road is not freezing yet. So then when the snow comes to the ground, it may melt. So it kind of changing our game plan on how and what type of operation we will dispatch. And also is a legislated requirement for road patrol. So in City of Markham is also a 24/7 task. We monitor different type of road. Which the legislation and service expectation, I'll go into more detail later on. So snow and ice control. We provide snow and ice control on roadway, bike lane, and sidewalk. So, and each of the different type of facility require different timeline and also different criteria. And is it, after I clear the road and after I clear the sidewalk, is it done? No, the story doesn't end there and our operation do not end there, because a lot of the time after we clear the roadway, the snow need to go somewhere. And with different type of impact and challenge that municipality is experiencing this time, a lot of the boulevard is very narrow, and there could be wide corner and cul-de-sac that require us to dispatch another crew, another type of equipment to go out to do post-storm cleanup for loader for, and sometimes if there's not enough room at the tail end in February and March, that's already a lot of snow on the boulevard. There's no more room, and now it's creating a safety situation in blocking intersection or blocking motorists in seeing a stop sign. Then we need to remove those snow off the site, then which we call it a snow low and haul operation. And then a lot of people don't know about the windrow at the end of the driveway. In the City of Markham, we do not provide citywide windrow removal, but we do provide a windrow assistance program to senior or anyone who have a medical condition. And right now, the city of Markham has approximately 5,500 approved residents on that window assistance program. So I'm going to telling you a little bit about the surface level and the legislative expectation. First off is the federal, which is a code of practice by Environmental Canada. So in this code, it recommends all government agencies to have a salt management plan. It set out the policy and procedural framework for continuous improvement of management of salt in winter maintenance. Why do we need to manage salt? For us, plowing our driveway, we buy salt and we try to use it to melt the snow and ice. But instead of Markham, we have 2,200 kilometers of road, and we have 1,100 kilometers of sidewalk. You can imagine how much salt one municipality can use, and multiply that by all the municipality and all the government and all the parking lot and all the private use. That create a lot of environmental impact to our nature, to our environment. So that is why municipalities recommended to have a salt management plan to preserve and also to monitor our salt consumption, our salt storage and transportation. So in City of Markham, we are very proud in this aspect, and we manage our salt use to reduce the environmental impact, also aligned to the federal code. It's a really fine balance as to without compromising the road safety while ensuring we adhere to the Ontario Minimum Maintenance Standard Act for winter maintenance in providing a safe road for motorists to travel on. So what is Ontario Minimum Maintenance Standard Act, which is a Bible to a road operation that a lot of people, I don't know how many of you are in the industry, but we are here to this Minimum Maintenance Standard Act. It's our defense. So it set out the minimum maintenance service level for municipality. It provides a standard instrument for municipality in Ontario to defend ourselves against claims related to winter maintenance. And oftentimes in City of Markham, I'm going to go into our service level later on, and a lot of our service level exceed, if not meet, the Ontario legislative standard. So just want to, I was like, oh, you talk about it's a Bible, you talk about minimum maintenance standard. So this is how this act is going to look like. I know the text could be hard for you guys to read, but don't worry about it. I don't want to put you guys to sleep in reading a legal legislation. I just want to highlight a couple of points so that you guys can reference to in the future. So you can also Google it up just by typing minimum maintenance standard, then the act will show up. So the act actually outlined weather monitoring. It also put down a time period for municipality to adhere to. So from October 1st to April 30th, the standard is to monitor the weather. And this is the enhanced time period that we will need to provide winter maintenance weather monitoring. From May to September 30th, the monitoring expectation is lower. So which tie back into why municipality set the winter shutdown time and how it impact our operation. Many of you live in Canada for many years or born and grow up here. I don't know how many of you recall that we receive snow. A lot of people think that, oh, winter doesn't come until December or January. But last year, really recent, November 11, we have a heavy snowstorm, and which triggered us to dispatch a full network plow. And then there could be a year that we received the first snow in October, by the end of October. So you never know with climate change these days, and all municipalities need to be ready to respond if whatever the weather calls upon us. And then in the act also talked about snow accumulation on the roadway and the expectation. The act has a table outlining what kinds of road will have the dispatch timeline and expectation. So the classification of the road is determined in the act based on the AADT, which is the traffic volume and the speed limit. Oftentimes in lower tier municipality, let's say in City of Markham, a majority of our road are class 5, which is local residential. Collector road, depending on the traffic volume and speed, oftentimes will be a class 3 or class 5. You can see the act set out a timeline where the municipality need to dispatch and the timeline that we need to finish. And it also talked about ice formation and treatment of ice. There's another section which covers snow accumulation on sidewalk and the expectation. And sidewalk expectation is recently added to the Minimum Maintenance Standard Act, and it talked about as 8 centimeters within 48 hours. It further covered ice formation and ice treatment on the sidewalk. So I talked about the act. Now let's share a little bit about City of Markham. In City of Markham, we classify our road in 3 categories. We have primary road, we have secondary, and we have local road. So primary road, what are these? These are the type of road that carry high volume. So the surface level is to soft and or proud to achieve bare surface condition 24/7. So you can see this type of road is very important to us. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week type of surface. The reason is these provide the arterial for emergency service and is connecting to a lot of the regional road or provincial highway. So in City of Markham, it consists approximately 39% of our network, our primary road. Secondary is our second class, which connect our local road to our primary. And it's a small percentage, which is 7.5% of our entire road network. These type of roads are soft and are proud to achieve center bare surface between 7 to 6 p.m. Center bare, what we mean is the crown. In the road, we look at, let's say that is a 4-lane. So we will try to clear as much as possible of the center. But first is to clear the primary. Once we clear the primary, we can get into the secondary. When secondary is clear and open up, we can get into the local residential street, which lead to the third category, which is local road and rear lane, which form a majority of our network. 53% is local road. These type of road carry very low traffic volume. And in City of Markham, they are considered acceptable in snowpack condition. We will plow when the snow which or exceeds 7.5 centimeter at the end of the snowstorm. However, if the snowstorm hit 12 centimeter and is still continuing, we will dispatch. And it can take us up to 16 hours to complete the entire network. Wide corner cleanup and the dead end will follow when the snowplow is complete. Many of our residents ask that, why don't you dispatch at the same time? But we need to plow the local road before our loader can go in to clean up the rest of the snow and plow it, because you need to assess if there's boulevard or cul-de-sac has enough room to store all the snow and for an effective snow clearing maintenance. At the same time, open up the network to allow residents to get in and out. Sidewalk. I show some picture of some of our challenge. We call it monolithic sidewalk, which is the sidewalk right next to the curb lane. Oftentimes, the snow from the road will get plowed onto the sidewalk. And then when we plow the sidewalk, there's not enough room. Sometimes the snow go back to the road. So back and forth, we call it chewing the snow. And oftentimes we may have to dispatch a particular type of equipment instead of a sidewalk tractor to help us to clear it. So as you can see in this middle picture, residents may have some of their entrance feature, some of their landscape aspect very close and next to the sidewalk. So it doesn't take much for our tractor to potentially hit it and damage their assets and also damage our equipment. This picture is one of the classic that we're swimming in a sea of snow. You can see this sidewalk tractor. If you're operating that, can you tell where the sidewalk is? It's pretty hard to tell when you have a heavy snowstorm. So a lot of our operators receive professional training and they're very experienced. So during the off time, they oftentimes will get familiar with the routes and understanding where they're going. So there's a lot of challenge out there. A lot of people think that, oh, it's very easy to plow the snow, like operating your snow plow for your driveway. But in this, that they're traveling with live traffic, and also they don't know what's out there. And our sidewalk machine is approximately 1.5 centimeter wide, and the sidewalk is also 1.5 centimeter wide or even narrower. So you can see that there's some unavoidable damage that could happen on the lawn. And also in a snow and ice situation, the ice will build up. So it doesn't take much to tip the sidewalk machine over. So we have to, as a responsible municipality, we have to look after everyone, including our operator. So In the municipal act, it outlined that sidewalk on both regional road and city road are the responsibility of the lower tier government. So in City of Markham, we plow and apply material when snow reach or exceed 5 centimeter. The commitment is within 24 hours. Currently, we have approximately 1,112 kilometers of sidewalk in our network. In 2019, we retained IPSO to help us to conduct a residential survey, and we're very proud of the results. So the overall satisfaction from our residents stated that 8 in 10 Markham residents agree that City of Markham provides snow activity occur within a reasonable amount of time. And 3/4 agree that the current level of winter maintenance is appropriate for the city need. So slightly more than half residents agree that City of Markham is doing a good job in communicating with winter maintenance activity, which means that this is an improvement area. So we're not going to stop, and we see that there's an area that we need to improve. So this year we issue a winter maintenance newsletter to all of our residents. So to update them on what is going to expect and to educate them and letting them know about City of Markham service level. So it's continue on as an improvement project. So the overall satisfaction from our Markham resident is 76% that is satisfied with Markham's winter operation. So now let's get into another chapter. I talk about what is winter maintenance, what is the legislation, and what Markham is doing. Then, what are the impact? What are some of the challenge that we face? So climate change for sure. That I put down a graph about winter in 2018 and 2019. So you guys probably remember in April 13, I think 2017, we also have an April ice storm. So you never know what nature could bring upon us. So we experienced in the past that increased frequency of ice and mixed precipitation. What does it mean by mixed precipitation? It's not just snow. Sometimes snow is relatively easier to push off the road, but ice, they are not as easy to push and scrape off the road. And then sometimes ice also come with freezing rain or finish off with rain. So then you can see that overnight when the temperature drop, it will form ice. And then the next day, let's say a snowfall came. The next day morning, the temperature is above 0. Then it's going to melt the snow on the boulevard. Then overnight, it's going to freeze up. So all the snows that melt overnight is going to freeze up at night. And then the next day. So sometime our counterpart from another department may be wondering, Alice, why are you guys dispatching sidewalk operation when there's no snow coming down? But a lot of the time that they do not know that there's ice formation on the sidewalk and we need to dispatch to prevent the ice. So this outlines some of the challenge that we are facing these days, and we may recognize increased frequency of equipment breakdown because we are dispatching them, and with the ice build up, like what I said earlier, could potentially create equipment tipping off and not able to stay on track, and also require longer cleanup time. And the other challenge that many of us face in the past is salt supply and capacity, and also snow storage limitation. Salt supply, sometimes it could be a salt shortage that it happened 2 years ago. And then all municipalities, do we have enough storage on site to allow us to manage our network? And then the deployment of the vehicle and loading the truck to get it off to the route. Snow storage site, a lot of the time require Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks to provide approval. And like what I said earlier, with new build, with limited boulevard space, we need to move the snow somewhere. After we take the snow into our dump truck, where do we bring it to? So a lot of this need to be captured in our winter maintenance plan. So in City of Markham, we're currently developing and building a new operation yard. So some of the impact, like what I said, is new build form with intensification going on. A lot of backlane is coming and showing. And you can see there's no boulevard space for us to store snow. And not even for the resident. When they are plowing their small little driveway apron, a lot of the time that we experience snow dumping and pushing off to our road. And in this area, it shows that the snow is accumulating on the boulevard. And if there's a utility permit that coming in, municipal consents and wanting to do work in here, there's not much room to allow for snow storage. And also when residents are backing out and coming through with the fence and all the ongoing construction, it poses a lot of challenge and constraint and safety concern. Parking on the road continue to be one of our major challenge. A lot of the time you can see in this picture with our power and rain, we need more than one lane from time to time. And with parked vehicle, we just cannot pass by. And what I want to touch on parking on the road is another thing that it create extra work for us to go back out in the future, in the next day, because the neighbor, it impact the neighbor. The neighbor may say that, oh, City of Markham, you're not doing such a wonderful job. You only clear half of the road because our plow cannot put the brake down because of a parked vehicle. So oftentimes we may have to go back out or it will impact the resident. So this is a classic picture that with construction constantly happening in October, November, you can see some snow on the side already. And with all this encroachment into the public right of way, how can a snowplow drive down safely? And it doesn't take much for wind to blow all this structure, gravel, off to the road and right of way. Some of the road cut happening during winter. This one is countersink, but there's no signage. This one is actually just putting on a road plate. This is a situation that we experienced in the past, that our road patrol identified there's road plate in here, but we didn't get any notification. There's no one communicated to us that this is happening. And you can see there's no sign and the boulevard space. So why I want to show this picture is the relevancy of why we are not providing permit on road cut during wintertime. Not this impact our winter vehicle. The plow in the front, it doesn't, when they put it down, the brake onto the road, when they plow along, it will get trapped into the road plate. And then it will cause our equipment damage. And it will also cause this plate to be shifted. Once the plate is shifted, it also creates public safety concern for pedestrian and also for the exposure for what is opened under. And you can see the boulevard and how much storage on the side. And we need proper communication and signage. And often all of these type of work need to be planned ahead and need to be think thoroughly and looking after all parties' needs. So this one you can see with some of the setback requirement, that's not enough in providing. Our brake and our plow wing is going to tip over and it will potentially create damage to the utility pedestal. And here is some of the sidewalk winter situation out there. They are doing temporary restoration, but the temporary restoration will contain hot mix, cold patch, and U-fill. And you can see that a trip and fall is waiting to happen. And this one, they're trying to patch it up, but in winter construction, it's not just about the road plate and damage and challenge to our vehicle, but it's also about the settlement. If you're fixing it in the wintertime, oftentimes in spring it's going to settle and you have to come back, and because of the free fall cycle. So we need to take everything into account, and this is not something that all of us want to achieve or want to see happen, because it doesn't take much for children to potentially step into it or any adult. So this is a failure after a directional bore. So you can see it caved in and the settlement. And another big displacement in the municipal, in the Minimum Maintenance Standard Act, it also outlined what is acceptable displacement, which is 2 centimeters. And this one fell significantly, and it just could create safety hazard for our pedestrian. And this change in the wintertime, and you can see some of the protection is not covering the entire site. All in all, I'm showing this picture is trying to put the focus back public safety. That's all we're here for. We share the right of way, and we want to ensure everyone's interest is protected. And now you're going to think, Alice, why are you showing me these pictures? These pictures doesn't have snow, and what is the problem? The problem is, here's the sidewalk. And when we plow the sidewalk, after 3 or 4 different operations, the snow is going to mount up. And this side seems like as a YLT bus station. When it's snow covered, no one can see this pedestal. If, let's say, YLT need to send a loader in to move the snow off site, so the loader cannot see this and could potentially damage the pedestal. And this one is very creative. I want to draw your attention to the sidewalk. The sidewalk is actually here, but because of the pedestal requirement and putting here, instead of proper planning and design to have it located in another area, they cut the sidewalk back. But when it's snow covered, our sidewalk machine will not be able to see it. And then this one, there's no setback in here to provide some room for our sidewalk equipment to pass. And you can see there's some scrape mark in here already. And this one, we have the temporary structure in the middle of our sidewalk. So when it's snow covered, you will hardly be able to tell where the infrastructure are. Some of the hoarding fence and temporary. So again, it creates challenge for our sidewalk. And this picture I want to show that is put things in perspective. There's a lot of parents and a lot of children are walking. So we want to make sure that the network is safe for everyone to enjoy and to use. This is a restoration during winter time, but a lot of the time that these type of situation with snowfall or rain or freezing rain, all this mud and all this contaminant will wash down into our catch basin, which will create contamination and a spill report. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the contact center call volume. That in 2017 to 2019, the call coming in to City of Markham are related to utility and streetlight concern are 6,240 cases. And they are related to streetlight cable that related to residents want to have new light, requesting for patrol, light malfunction. And then for utility, the call are usually related to the TV, the phone, the gas line, the hydro, utility safety, and other telecommunication cable. So just want to show you that our resident is aware of the situation, and they will call our contact center to report some of the situation that they see. All in all, today's presentation, I want to tie back in, which is winter shutdown. I know we share the role. Everyone have the right to occupy. All in all, public safety is our #1 priority, and everyone have their job to do. So we just want to explain to our user and our counterpart and our partner in the industry that we have to have a winter shutdown time period. And in City of Markham, our winter shutdown is November 1st to April 15th, even though the Minimum Maintenance Standard Act start weather monitoring in October 1st. So we understand the construction period is very tight in Ontario. So we try to give some lenient and reasonable timeline. So in Markham, our winter shutdown is November 1st to April 15th, winter season terms and conditions applicable. And many of you, if you are in the construction industry, you will receive an email from us saying that, dear all, with Labor Day behind us, operation would like to remind everyone that annually the winter maintenance season occurs between November 1st and April 15th due to potential conflict with snow clearing and the increased difficulty in road restoration. Non-emergency road cuts are not permitted. Please ensure third-party and contractual obligations that will require road cuts to be undertaken during this time period are not made. A road cut is any excavation which occurs within the travel portion of the road involving and the removal of asphalt layer. For more detail about road occupancy permit application and the requirement, please refer to the attached FAQ. So we have all the information online. So if you're interested, you can visit us on www.markham.ca. If you want to find out more information about our winter, you can visit markham.ca/winter. So /winter, then you will be able to get onto our page. So the City of Markham work will review each application to accommodate boulevard construction activity, given that there's proper snow fence, temporary restoration, proper signage, traffic protection, temporary closure and detour. Permanent restoration is to follow in the spring. So again, all this application will have to go through for review and approval. I just want to wrap up today's presentation. That winter, Canadian winter, is for everyone. That we live in it together every day. So let's plan ahead and share the right of way together to provide a safe roadway and sidewalk for all road users. So we in this together, and it's Canadian winter, and this year with COVID situation is going to be a really challenging one for many municipality. So having that said, just want to share with you some of our what we do in road operation and how we manage winter maintenance, winter condition within the right of way. Let's do it together, let's share, and let's continue our communication. If you would like to reach out for more information, below is my contact information, alam@markham.ca. So thank you very much. Now I'll pass the time back to Tracy for any question.
So Alice, we have a question here. If there are no other design options, does the city of Markham allow flush to grade handwells within sidewalk bays?
This is a really good question. And Tracy, I actually will refer it back to you.
I was wondering that. So we push them outside of the sidewalk bays, and we will exhaust all other options to keep it outside of the sidewalk bay. We very rarely allow handwells within sidewalk bays. The only way it is ever allowed is if there's a very, very good reason and absolutely no other place that those can go.
And oftentimes you will see here that you can engineer anything. A lot of things that you can overcome and design, engineer. So it's just a matter of cost and time. So we share the road together. And if you create a handwell within the sidewalk, it could provide, because of the texture difference, that concrete provide a pedestrian feeling differently than walking on a handwell. So having that in mind, that public safety still should be our #1 priority.
Are there any other questions that anybody has? Okay, so there's a poll up. If you could go through the poll and answer the poll, it would be great. We just would like to get some feedback on the presentation and how everything went today. I can't get in there. Any other questions?
So I see a question about is windrow considered a Markham winter program. So currently in City of Markham, we do not provide citywide windrow removal, We only provide it to the one that who need the service. So who are the one that need the service? We have a windrow assistance program that offer to senior who are over 60 years of age or have a medical condition that they can provide doctor note that they live alone, that no one in the household can help them.
Okay, so I'd like to thank Alice for presenting today. Thank you very much for doing that presentation. I'm sure everybody learned a little bit about what we do at the City of Markham with the road operations. There is this video is recorded, and as long as we obtain permission from Alice to post it, then it will be posted on the Right-of-Way Management site. We did just receive another question. Are AODA standards considered when winter clearing standards are being set up, or the AODA standards are to be met separately?
We take that into consideration. So in the Minimum Maintenance Standard Act, it outlined that sidewalk winter maintenance is to provide 1 meter of snow clearing. But then AODA actually stated that sidewalk should be 1.5 meter. So in City of Markham, when we provide sidewalk winter maintenance, we provide 1.5 meter to meet AODA requirement.
And there's another question that came up as well. What are the snow removal requirements for residents?
That's a very interesting question. In City of Markham, we clear the sidewalk. And for private resident, it really depending on your residential and your drawing. So if you own the private road, then it will fall under your responsibility. And clear your windrow. If you do not clear it, it just impacts your access to your driveway and to your garage. So I would more say that instead of snow removal requirement for residents, what the residents should be taking into consideration is that do not build and do not encroach to the public right of way on the road allowance. I know a lot of residents would like to enhance, do certain landscape in their front lawn, but a lot of the time with the driveway border and with different type of feature they're putting on or parking in that apron that could overhanging onto our sidewalk or onto our road, which create a lot of challenge for our operation and could create damage. So we ask that our residents to continue to work with us, share the road, and embrace Canadian winter together. So by doing that, I think everyone can just do our part. Also, the fire hydrant and the catch basin. It's not a requirement, but if you can help to clear the snow around the fire hydrant and the catch basin, it also help us and help our emergency service.
Okay, another question we got, what is the plan when the city runs out of salt?
Well, the plan is that we have not, and knock on wood, that we are pretty well planned so far. What we do is we currently building a secondary operation yard to provide us more salt storage. So what we do is our goal is to store 1 year worth of salt that we need based on historical data. So then to make sure that we do not run out of salt. If we run out of salt, then depending on the temperature and the road condition, then there's other abrasive material that could help us to provide the traction on the road. Then you will continue to work. We will continue to work with our municipal partner to help to develop contingency plan if that happens. So I saw another question. Does the City of Markham use salt alternatives? So right now in City of Markham, we do not use any treated salt at this point, but it's something that we definitely will consider and evaluate. by doing some pilot location. But for sidewalk, we do not use straight salt. We use a sand salt mix material for sidewalk winter maintenance.
I think that's all for the questions. So thank you again, Alice, for doing the presentation. Again, this presentation will be posted if we receive approval from Alice. And we'd like to thank everybody for participating today.
Thank you.
There will be a utility engineering in transit online workshop November 3rd and November 5th, 2020. Put on by the Center for Advancement of Trenchless Technology in partnership with UESI Ontario Chapter. Canada Common Ground Alliance Virtual Summit, UESI Canada will be sponsoring 10 municipal provincial scholarships. Only a few remaining. Get in touch as soon as possible to secure a slot to apply for the scholarship. To apply, go to info@uesicanada.org. And again, I'd like to reiterate that we will be putting on another presentation in November. So go over to the Right-of-Way Management Conference website and take a look and register for it. And that would be a wrap. Thank you, everyone.